Hey everyone, it's Sandra, and today's video is going to be a foundation first impressions video on this baby right here. This is the L'Oréal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. I am extremely excited to test this out for you, and this will be my first foundation first impression of 2017. I have a huge foundation wish list going on of foundations that I want to try and foundations that I want to buy next. So I will be doing more of these videos as I progress throughout the year. So I thought we would start off with a brand new drugstore foundation. I am a huge fan of the L'Oréal Infallible range. I also have the Pro Matte and Pro Glow. So when they came out with this new Total Cover Foundation, I just knew I had to try it out and film it on my channel. So if you want to see how this foundation wore on me, just keep on watching. And for your reference, I have combination skin that is quite oily in the T-zone. My skin is also very acne prone skin. So I do have, sometimes I get dry patches from acne spots that are trying to go away. So I kind of have a cocktail of issues going on. So hopefully that will be helpful for you. And yeah, just keep on watching. All right, so starting off with just freshly clean and moisturized face, I did put on my eye makeup already just to save a little bit of time. And I actually used this palette from Clarins. This is their Essentials palette. The colors are absolutely beautiful, but the only thing that really annoys me is the fact that some of the shimmery shades have like actual glitter particles in it. So you get glitter fallout while you're applying it. So if you are interested in getting this palette, just know that if you're intending on using any of the shimmery shades, you should probably do your eye makeup first. Otherwise, you will have glitter fallout all over your face. Anyway, on with the star of the show, the foundation. Now, I struggle finding a good color match, especially in the winter time, because I'm like light medium with a yellow undertone, but it's not, I don't want something to be too yellow. I want it to be the right mixture of like yellow, golden, and beige with a hint of olive, which is a lot to ask apparently. So I am actually going to be mixing two shades today. So this is the L'Oréal Infallible Total Cover Foundation, and I'm going to be mixing shades 305 and 302 to kind of get my perfect match. 305 has the right undertone. Now when I first got these, I actually got every single shade. L'Oreal sent it to me, and I was patch testing to see what color I would be. And the day that I was patch testing, I had a lot of dry patches on my skin, and this foundation did not do well on dry patches. So just a word of warning, if you have dry skin, if you have flaky skin, skin that has visible dry patches, you might want to wait it out and just exfoliate your skin really well and hydrate it to get rid of any flakiness and dry patches. The foundation is marketed with a sponge that L'Oreal sells, so I'm going to just apply this with my BeautyBlender. This is like my fail-safe go-to method of application when it comes to all the foundations that I have. So that's what I'm going to be using. And the formula of this actually reminds me a little bit of the Maybelline, the Dream Matte Velvet, except it's a little bit more dense. So it's like a whipped mousse texture, but it's quite dense. I'm doing equal amounts of both, and I'm just going to use my ring finger to kind of mix them together on the back of my hand, and going to start dotting it and blending it into my skin. The finish is matte. I would say that the finish is almost more matte than the Pro Matte, which is kind of strange. The coverage is really good. I do have a blemish here and some post-blemish marks, so this will be a good gauge to see how well this foundation actually covers. It's really, really nice and velvety and smoothing, which I like. So if you are like me and you have some texture issues, I have some old acne scar indentations that do not go away. And this formula is actually smoothing over my scars really nicely. I actually really like this. And I did hydrate my skin really well. I exfoliate my skin regularly, so I don't have any, I got rid of the flaky dry patches, so I don't have any right now. It's looking really good, actually. Need a little bit more, and the color match is actually really good. do one more dab. The coverage is definitely fuller than the Pro Glow and the Pro Matte, but I still would not call this full coverage. I would say is medium full. Like you can see some of the blemish and then the post blemish marks, some of them are still showing through. I'm going to try and build up the coverage in those spots to see if I can get a full coverage. But upon first application, this is not as full coverage as the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation. I did leave the under eye area blank because I will be using my under eye concealer over there. So now I'm going to try and build up the coverage just a little bit on the blemishes. It actually is pretty decent. I mean, I would still probably use Laura Mercier Camouflage for blemishes, but if you're in a pinch and you just want to use a foundation, you don't want to use any extra concealer, this will do the trick. It's a really nice medium full coverage. So as you can see, it did end up covering that blemish pretty darn well. Now I'm going to do my under eye concealer, and I'm using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Light. I don't know what that is on my nose. I just feel like I need a little bit of brightening. I'm probably making really wacky faces right now. I'm doing a little bit of Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder under the eyes with the Wayne Goss airbrush. I'm not sure if you can still get this. I added my name to the waiting list for it on Beautylish, and then when I got the email that I was restocked, I hopped on it and bought it. This is one of my favorite brushes that I've ever purchased, and it's worth all the hype. It's $35, which I don't think is that bad for a really high quality brush. So soft, it feels like a paw. For bronzer, I'm using Solar Powder from Soap & Glory. Just a little bit to warm up my face. For blush, I'm going to do a little bit of Benefit Hervana. This is just a really pretty swirl of pink and a little bit of peach. It's a good all-rounder. When you swirl all the colors together, you just get a really nice peachy pink. I'm going to add just a dab of, this is a highlighter, but I use it like a blush topper more, and it's Becca Rose Gold. This is the Shimmering Skin Perfector. And I like to use it just on the tops of my cheekbones on top of a rosy blush. I wouldn't do this in the summer, but in the winter time, my cheeks are quite dry and they can look a little bit dull. So in the summer, my oil production does this on its own, but in the winter, I need a little bit of synthetic help. I'm gonna finish my eyebrows really quick. Liquid lipstick from PUR Cosmetics, and it's called Obsessed. And it also came with a lip oil that I've actually been loving to use on top. It's so hydrating, and it's nice if you want to add a little bit of sheen, and it also works as a lip primer. All right, so this is the finished makeup look. I did not think that I would get this looking as nice and glowy as I did, but I'm really pleasantly surprised so far. And I did speak too soon. I do have one dry patch over here that did not, that I wasn't able to exfoliate. So this dry patch is looking a little bit cakey. So I'm actually really digging this. The coverage is full, but the formula is very, very thin. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing full coverage makeup on my face. It definitely is lighter in texture. And let's see how this wears. Oh, I don't have my phone, hang on. I love it when people have like the phone for proof of time passing by. Let me get my, got it. It is 11:58 a.m. Come on phone, show the time. I want to be like the cool YouTube kids. You can't even see it because of this stupid thing. Just wanted to kind of show you how the foundation looks like in completely natural light. I was using some artificial light in the other room. It looks really good on camera. It looks really good in real life as well. So far, so good. I did want to zoom in and show you the dry patch. Still kicking, and obviously Mount Vesuvius Jr. over there is still kicking around. But I don't mind. I don't like looking like a mask. I don't mind if if some things end up showing through foundation. It is what it is, it's life. That's like one of the main things that pisses me off about magazines and photoshopping in magazines and photoshopping people's faces in general, because nobody's face looks like that. Even somebody with absolutely clear skin, somebody that doesn't have acne, even like they have pores, they have a like skin texture. I feel like when you look at retouched pictures and it's just one flat color on someone's skin, there's no dimension. It doesn't even, it's not even skin, it's just a color on a page. So yeah, I don't know why I went on that tangent, but this foundation is really nice. A quick update. It is now, this is really awful. Can't see. Can you see? It's 2:47, so it's been almost 3 hours of me having this foundation on. And in terms of coverage and staying on, it's doing very well, but I am getting oily on my T-zone, and I mean, I'm not surprised, which is why I usually set with a powder foundation if I really want something to stay more matte and locked in throughout the day. But I wanted to just kind of gauge the lasting power and the wear of this foundation without any oil control product. So I didn't use like an oil control primer, and I didn't use like an actual mattifying powder. In terms of coverage, the coverage has not faded at all. It's still on there pretty well, and it doesn't look cakey. It still looks really nice. All right, so it is now 6:13 p.m. right now, and I did want to show you how oily this looks in my studio lighting situation. This looks a lot oilier. It looks a lot oilier under these lights than it does in real life. I would definitely still be blotting at this point, and I am going to blot. I know that some people don't blot when they do these types of foundation videos, but for me, I'm just testing a realistic day in my life wearing this foundation, and in a realistic everyday situation, I would be blotting at this point. So I'm just going to blot using some tissue. So it's been just over 6 hours. And once I blot it, it still looks really good. It did fade a little bit from my chin, and it's separated just a tiny little bit in there. I also lost a bit of coverage at the tip of my nose, but that's because I had a runny nose today, so I did blow my nose a couple of times. After blotting, it is really nice and refreshed. So I could definitely wear this to work for an entire day. I'll be checking in with you at 10 p.m. All right, so this is the final check-in. I did not make it until 10. It's actually 9:24, almost 9:30 p.m. And this is going to be the final check-in. I'm not going to wait until 10 because I think by now we can see by the looks of it, it is time to wash my face. So the oil control of this foundation is not as good as the Infallible Pro Matte Foundation, but it doesn't claim to be more oil controlling than the Infallible Pro Matte, although it does claim to last 24 hours. I think if you have normal skin, you might not have a problem with this lasting you all day long without blotting, but like I mentioned before, I did not use an oil control primer or a mattifying oil control powder. Even with this situation, I think if I just blot, and then if I were to use my Becca, the Becca multitasking perfecting powder, I think I could revive this and get an extra couple hours of wear. And the studio lighting situation definitely makes the oil look a lot worse than it does in real life. I don't look this greasy in real life. It's definitely accentuated by all the lights that I have shining on my face. Anyway, overall I have to say that I did like this foundation. It is extremely lightweight, and it didn't look like I was wearing like caked on makeup, and it didn't look cakey throughout the day. I did have issues with that one dry spot, and I did have some fading on my nose because I did have a runny nose throughout the day. So when I blew my nose, I lost some of the coverage, and then I also lost some coverage on my chin, you know, after eating, wiping my mouth and stuff like that. That's normal. But other than that, it actually lasted quite well. It lasted better than the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation. It faded a bit. I'd say it's now just about a medium coverage. It's no longer medium to full. The color did not oxidize on me at all either, which is really nice. And yeah, so far so good. I can say that I like this foundation. I would not wear this as an everyday going to work foundation. I think that for me personally, it is the type of foundation that I will just wear if I have to go out somewhere and I know I'm only going to be gone for like 3-4 hours, because then I know that for those 3-4 hours I will have a really nice looking coverage. I think that for me this foundation performed the best in its first couple of hours of wear. That's when I liked it the most on my skin. I think if your skin is more normal, you will probably get a lot more wear time out of this without needing to blot or to touch it really. But if you do have skin that's on the oily side, you will want to use an oil control primer, a matte setting powder, stuff like that. Anyway, I hope that you found this video helpful. Let me know what foundation you're loving right now. Time to go wash my face. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you next week with a new one. Bye.